The press release from Vice President Kamala Harris's campaign says it all. A weird night on Fox News. J.D. Vance triples down on attacks on women. Tonight, the Fox host and former Congressman Trey Gowdy devoted the opening segment of his show to detail his disapproval of J.D. Vance, or as I call him, Shady Vance. J.D. Vance's statements disparaging couples struggling with infertility and childless women. So then Trey Gowdy highlights how even conservative women are put off by J.D. Vance's anti-women beliefs, essentially begging J.D. Vance to apologize. But when J.D. Vance then joins the show, spoiler alert, he didn't apologize, and he tripled down on it. First, he says that he was taken out of context. I want you to watch this. Play the clip.
Trey, and if you look at the full context of what I said, it's very clear the Democrats have tried to take this thing out of context and blow it out of proportion, which is what they always do, Trey, because they don't have an agenda to run on themselves.
Then J.D. Vance defends his comments on childless Americans by claiming Vice President Kamala Harris called for an end to child tax credits, which is not only something that she didn't do, she pushed forward the most significant child tax credits in history that Republicans voted against. Here, play this clip.
One more thing I want to say on this, Trey. I think a lot of parents and a lot of non-parents look at our public policy over the last 4 years and ask, how did we get to this place? How did we get to a place where Kamala Harris is calling for an end to the child tax credit?
Then J.D. Vance just gratuitously says, I guess as one account said, I guess if you're going to be a liar on behalf of an even bigger liar, your lies just have to be ridiculous. And so J.D. Vance says, look, Donald Trump is not a vengeful guy. Here, play this clip.
Yeah, of course, Trey. And you know, I was critical of the president back in 2015 and 2016, and he has looked at me as somebody who can contribute meaningfully to the future of the country, so he asked me to be his running mate. This is not a vengeful guy. The media lies about Donald Trump more than anybody I've ever seen in public life.
Donald Trump's entire campaign is based on retribution. That's what Donald Trump says. They have signs that say retribution. That's what was being passed around at the Republican National Convention. It was all about retribution, retribution. Those are Trump's words. By the way, J.D. Vance says that he was taken out of context. Okay, well, let me just read for you the transcript of his statement. This is what J.D. Vance previously said. J.D. Vance goes, "This country is run by a bunch of childless cat ladies who are miserable at their own lives and the choices that they've made. And so they want to make the rest of the country miserable too. Look at Kamala Harris, Pete Buttigieg, AOC. The entire future of the Democrats is controlled by people without children. How does it make any sense? We've turned our country over to people who don't really have a stake in it." That's a direct quote from JD, or as I call him, Shady Vance. By the way, on Fox, in an earlier segment, Shady Vance was asked about all of the people in America now who are just saying he's a weird guy. Watch J.D. Vance's weird response to that. Play the clip.
He has a new insult out this week that her and her husband have been using towards you, calling you weird. Does that hurt your feelings? How do you feel about that?
No, not at all. It doesn't hurt my feelings.
Just show you that at another angle, zoomed in. Here, play this clip.
He has a new insult out this week that her and her husband have been using towards you, calling you weird. Does that hurt your feelings? How do you feel about that? Does that hurt your feelings? How do you feel about that? Does that hurt your feelings? How do you feel about that?
Just so you can judge if you think J.D. Vance was taken out of context, he made the decision that he was going to go on Tucker. He knew what he was going to say because these were statements that he's been saying since he's changed his identity for the fourth or fifth time. Like, you know, J.D. Vance has changed his name 3 times and he's changed his entire personality like 4 times. Like, he pretended to be a hillbilly and now he's pretending to be, you know, this Trumper. When it's all, the whole thing is bogus. This whole shtick is a fraud. But let me just show you. He goes on Tucker and let me just show you what he says. Here, play the clip.
Saying is that we're effectively run in this country via the Democrats, via our corporate oligarchs, by a bunch of childless cat ladies who are miserable at their own lives and the choices that they've made. And so they want to make the rest of the country miserable too. And it's just a basic fact. You look at Kamala Harris, Pete Buttigieg, AOC, the entire future of the Democrats is controlled by people without children. And how does it make any sense that we've turned our country over to people who don't really have a direct stake in it?
And J.D. Vance posted over and over again about cat ladies, and man, these cat ladies are a big problem. I mean, these are posts that he's consistently made. These are statements that he made. Here's another speech that he gave where he says basically the same things. Here, play the clip.
Well, I'll go back to something I said earlier about we need to reward the things that we think are good and punish the things that we think are bad. So you talk about tax policy. Let's tax the things that are bad and not tax the things that are good. If you're making $100,000, $400,000 a year, and you've got 3 kids, you should pay a different, lower tax rate than if you're making the same amount of money and you don't have any kids. It's that simple.
I totally agree.
And then he was given an opportunity again to apologize on Megyn Kelly, and he didn't. Here, play the clip.
You have Hollywood celebrities saying, oh, well, J.D. Vance, what if your daughter suffered fertility problems? Well, first of all, that's disgusting because my daughter is 2 years old. And second of all, if she had fertility problems, as I said in that speech, I would try everything I could to try to help her because I believe families and babies are a good thing. That's the whole point, is if you believe families and babies are a good thing, you should be trying to promote life. You should try to promote the fact that we want to have a good family policy in this country. That is what's so profoundly wrong about where the Democrats have gone. And I think we have to fight back against this, Megyn. I think a lot of people, the media has been attacking me and this is how it goes. We cannot give up an inch on this.
As many of you may know, I just got married and I plan on expanding my family. With more responsibilities stacking up, I want to make sure my family will have the protection that fits our needs. Now, I'm grateful that I have Policy Genius by my side. Policy Genius is the country's leading online insurance marketplace. It makes choosing the right policy for your family easy and quick. That's why I love it. Policy Genius helps you easily compare your options from America's top insurers in just a few clicks. Their award-winning agents can even walk you through the process step by step. With Policy Genius, you can find life insurance policies that start at just $292 per year for $1 million of coverage. Some options are 100% online and let you avoid unnecessary medical exams. Policy Genius has no incentive to recommend one insurer over another, so you can trust their guidance. Your work-life insurance policy may not offer enough protection that your family needs. Even worse, it may not come with you if you leave your job. So please get the peace of mind that you need by finding the right life insurance with Policy Genius. Head to policygenius.com/Meidas or click the link in the description to get your free life insurance quotes and see how much you could save. That's policygenius.com/Meidas. One more time, go to policygenius.com/Meidas, and I think you'll see why I trust Policy Genius. policygenius.com/Meidas. And by the way, the whole country, the whole world is mocking Shady Vance right now. Even New York City Sanitation's Twitter account put out the following. Have a couch you just don't love anymore? Set it out the night before your trash only, not recycling collection day. And that's from the New York Sanitation Department. By the way, here is a new photo that just came out about from J.D. Vance. He's wearing a communist shirt, complete with a hammer and sickle. This is a photo from J.D. Vance. Also, some other photos of J.D. Vance passed out when he was blacked out drunk before. Those are surfacing as well. And of course, we've talked about J.D. Vance Googling dolphin and women and disgusting stuff. So we've talked about that before. But that's Shady Vance. This video just went viral. This is Chelsea Handler reacting to all this J.D. Vance news. Here, play this clip.
Oh, hey! As you might have heard, Donald Trump's running mate and future star of his own Dateline episode, J.D. Vance, is ruffling quite a few feathers this week.
We're effectively run in this country by a bunch of childless cat ladies who look at Kamala Harris. The entire future of the Democrats is controlled by people without children.
Listen up, you wingnut elegy. This country is still controlled by men in systems that were set up by men that are carefully crafted to continue to benefit men. So to put it in women-hating terms, you'll understand you're being hysterical. But let's be clear, there's no correlation between childless people and the presidency. For example, our very first United States president, Mr. George Washington, didn't have children. In fact, he had 2 stepchildren. That's right, just like someone else I know. And to your point about Kamala not being fit because she's not a mother, I'd like to remind you that no president in the history of the United States has ever been a mother. But maybe if she had 5 kids with 3 different men and a scandalous affair with a porn star and was convicted felon, that would be more palatable to Republican men. I mean, my God, are we tired? You sad, diet, Mountain Dew drinking, couch humping, dolphin porn aficionado, all of us childless cat and dog ladies are going to go from childless and crushing it to childless and crushing you in November. And before you tell me he didn't really fuck a couch, spare me. I grew up in New Jersey in the 80s where everyone had a couch in their basement, and I know a couch fucker when I see one.
And then so because of all of this, then Trey Gowdy, the host of that show, had to do damage control. And so he tried to give this whole monologue where he was trying to apologize for Shady Vance. Here, watch this.
I've watched that interview many times, and you should too, in full, and draw your own conclusions. When that interview surfaced, 2 things leapt to my mind. Those of us who talk for a living make mistakes. We say things that in hindsight we might phrase differently or better or not at all. And then I thought about a stormy day at Reagan National Airport where I met 2 women desperately trying to get home to South America. I was trying to get home to South Carolina. We spent the whole day together, finally making it to Charlotte, and then somehow we got them on a flight to Houston. They were headed to visit family in South America before returning to their new home called America. And when we parted ways, they said they'd like to pray for me as their way of saying thanks for the day spent together. And I assured them it's too late to help me. But I do have a friend who's expecting, and she got some tough news about her unborn child. Would they please pray for her instead? And they did, and they still do to this day. They're Catholic nuns, childless, dedicated to God, love this country, living lives of service to others. And it's not just Catholic nuns. Some of the finest people I know don't have children. Teachers and guidance counselors and lawyers and doctors, and they love other people's children enough to teach and guide and protect and minister to them. Some people choose not to have children. Others desperately want them, but they can't. In a moment, we'll speak with Senator J.D. Vance. We have never met before, but we have many friends in common who tell me that he is smart and he is talented and he is more than capable. None is perfect, no, not one. That's what the good book says. And the American people are forgiving if we ask.
And by the way, to make things even worse for Fox and even more beneficial for Vice President Kamala Harris, then they had on the Mark Levin show, you know how we talk about Mark Levin, the Mark Levin show, Kevin McCarthy then gives an interview with Mark Levin where he says that he's tried to call Vice President Kamala Harris. She wouldn't meet with him. You just helped her approval rating even more, Kevin McCarthy. Here, play this clip.
When she got elected to the U.S. Senate, I was the majority leader. I reached out to meet with her. Not once would she meet with me.
I like this one account right here that goes, Dems reacting to this Vance pick like, looks like Florida is back on the menu, boys. JD Vance also sent this bizarre email. I talked about it in another video with all of this going on. He goes, I've got a question for Ben. Can I give you a quick call before ... No, JD Vance, you can't give me a quick call. Then JD Vance again thought it would be a very good idea that he posts the following. This is actually a post by JD Vance. The post says, JD Vance is weird. JD Vance made a post that says, JD Vance is weird. It's real. hit subscribe. Let's get to 3 million together. Weird.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Meidas by signing up to the MeidasTouch newsletter at MeidasTouch.com/newsletter.